Rabia tells the story of two Latin American immigrants in Spain, and one of them is forced to hide in a big mansion where he watches the life of his girlfriend, who works there as a maid, as a live-in maid. And he watches her life there and her interaction with the family she works for, and the contrast between them as immigrants who are almost invisible. He's become literally invisible in the house. He's almost becoming a shadow or a ghost in the house, while she works there, and her working there makes her also, in a way, being always on the outside, being always on the fringes of everything. They contrast very much with the family, who's a very dysfunctional Spanish family, a little bit decadent, and from a very bourgeois, but who has a very different view of things than these two immigrants. While they are completely in love and they're longing to be together again, and they have this idealistic vision of what their love could be, the family, on the other hand, is completely an example of relationships that have failed, that have fallen apart, that have not worked. So that contrast is very important, and it's very much also a contrast between the idealism of an immigrant, of coming back, pursuing a dream, with a family that has become jaded, very cynical about everything. There's a couple of significant changes in the adaptation, although I try to remain true to the essence of the novel. One of the changes was the fact that the story in the novel is set in Buenos Aires, in a mansion in Buenos Aires, and there's a social class struggle present. But here I shifted the story to Spain. With Latin American immigrants. That was the first big change. And another change is that in the novel, when Rosa, Jose Maria's girlfriend, is pregnant, she actually gets, she gets pregnant from someone else, not from him. In the novel, he's hiding for almost 3 years, for a much longer period, and which in the adaptation I didn't think would work. I thought that it would be much stronger if Rosa's baby was Jose Maria's, and that was one of the main reasons why he chose to stay. So there's a few changes like that. The way the final scene in the novel is practically identical to the final scene in the movie, but the reason Jose Maria gets sick is different. There's some changes are small, others are more significant, but I think I managed to stay true to the essence. And the author, Sergio Vicio, saw the movie recently, and he really liked it, so that was a big relief for me. The mise en scène, the whole setup of each shot and all the different elements that we played with, we had to be very, very, very careful, because it's a movie about details, it's a movie about subtleties, it's a movie about the different ranges of shadow and light. So on one hand, it was with the director of photography, with Enrique Chediak, we worked very carefully and very thoroughly on a shot-by-shot design of the movie. And there were certain shots that I knew from the beginning that I wanted to do, like the long continuous tracking shot that the first time he calls her on the phone, it's the first time that we unify the two characters in one long shot, but they're at the same, very, very far apart. Those elements I know I wanted to play with from the beginning, and we started constructing all the design of the movie, all the visual design, based on specific moments that I wanted to mark, that I knew were very strong moments, and then other moments we wanted to show more the passing of time, the transitions, ellipses of between one season and the next season. Suddenly 2 or 3 months have passed, and you only realize when you see a change in the character, or when you see something that has shifted, or that the character's hair has grown and that he's thinner. There were a lot of elements to play with. Also, in constructing the house was very important in terms of reflecting who this family was, and so every detail in the house was essential in order to show us who this family is, since we're only catching glimpses of the family through the character who's watching them. Having all these details around him, having all the dreams of the family reflected in the objects in the house was also very, very important. So it is very much a movie about a lot of details, and each detail had to be worked out very carefully. Well, the fact that the two protagonists are immigrants I think, is very significant, and adds a layer to the story. For me, it was very important to show two different facets of immigration. One is an immigrant who feels feels that everyone is very aggressive towards him, and the other an immigrant who has a much more positive outlook on things, that somehow his reaction is always to fight back while she's absorbing everything and actually trying to give light to the people around her. And I think to have the two extremes of of characters in this world of immigrants, I think was very important, because I didn't want to convey that my vision of an immigrant was Jose Maria, who's almost a psychopath at a certain moment, and that's just one case of that specific character. That's not how I view an immigrant. So somehow Rosa managed to balance things out, with her goodness and all the light around her. Bueno.